All right. Good morning. How's everybody doing? I'm not able to see everybody's faces just yet. So, all right. All right. So we have quite a few folks here today. Can you guys hear me? Any thumbs up? Okay, gotcha. All right, good deal. All right. So as you can see, we've added a couple of team members and clients that are going through the Mastermind program. And this, if it's your first time coming through, obviously this will kind of be an introduction. But this is what we do pretty much every week. And as long as you're doing the assignments, if you need to go back, we'll go through a little bit of what's going on overall. But for the most part, if you have the playbook and you go from the very beginning and work your way until you're up to week 8, you'll see how this benefits you with accountability coaching. And of course, you're free to reach out to me at any time. The only thing I request is as you're going through the training, there's a lot of rules that you see in the first couple of weeks. One of them being this, I like to have cameras on, and then as well as making sure that, if there's any questions, that rather than wait until the event or to the day of the mastermind, ask those questions through the group community, or, reach out to me offline. So if you get stuck on the assignment somewhere along the way, the goal is really to, right after we have our meetings, start trying to get the assignments knocked out, hopefully get them done before Monday. That way, if that's the case, then you should have a little bit of time between Monday and Thursday for me to kind of coach you if something's messing up on you. But for the most part, we're going to cover like the people who have done the assignments and got pretty good results, and we'll have them reaching out to us or actually speaking up on us. So this is a chart that we go through. So if you're not familiar with my blast off acronym, basically what we're doing, I call these KPIs, key performance indicators, or milestones. And basically what you're looking at pretty much every week is the same thing. But if you're running a business, this is what you have to do. I just finished a presentation called basically You Are the CEO. And it's basically about how, as a real estate agent, what it would take for you to go from, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 deals to over 50 to 100. And it all depends on how you put together your team. So I'll post that video in the group so you guys will have a chance. It's like just under 20 minutes, but it basically talks about how, typically when most people get in real estate, even 5, 10, 15 years later, they don't realize they're the CEO of the company. They look at it from the standpoint that, most of us come from W-2 jobs. And if you haven't been groomed or taught what it's like to run your own company, then what ends up happening is you treat it like a W-2 job, and your broker or supervisor is your manager, or they run the company, which when you're W-2, it's actually the opposite. Or correction, when you're 1099, it's the opposite. You are the CEO. And I always use the example of a painter that's learning how to paint. So if Picasso was going to be my mentor and I'm a painter, I'm not going to work for Picasso forever. I'm going to go to Picasso because he's experienced, he's got the skill set, he can coach me, tell me what I'm missing and not missing, and then we go from there. And then at a certain point, they're going to cut me loose, just like kicking a bird out the nest, and let me do my own thing. So that's kind of how real estate's supposed to be designed. Unfortunately, there's a lot of brokers out there who know that there's a lot of people that come with the W-2 mindset, so they use that to their advantage, and they make you feel like they're working, like you're working for them. And if you've been with those brokers, you end up getting like a very small percentage because they run their company like a W-2 job, and they know that you don't know any better, so they take advantage of that. Of course, you get a small split, sometimes 15, 20, 30%, but they know if they're running it like a W-2 company, they're going to get you paid, versus sometimes people don't know they can generate their own business. So with my coaching program, the goal is to teach you how to go from that W-2 mindset into a place where you recognize you are the CEO. And with that being said, every single person even when you're done with my coaching program, you should be still tracking your KPIs. And when I say KPIs, if you use my blast off acronym, the first letter is B, but that's basically for branding. And everyone who's been doing the branding piece, starting from the first couple of weeks, you know that your branding is important, because when people start looking you up online, they want to see consistency. Then the next one that I actually use to track every week is leads. So you got leads, appointments, and you'll see this is leads for buyers, then appointments, signatures on contracts. We may or may not start tracking buyer rep agreements. I always say 1 to 4 family contract. And then for the buyer, how many transactions did you close? So it's transactions, and then we want to track transactions. So BLAST, the LAST, leads, appointment, signatures, and tracking transactions. Sellers, same exact thing, but you want to track those every week. So if you work backwards, you're not going to have closings if you don't have signatures. You're not going to have signatures if you don't have appointments. And you're not going to have appointments if you don't have leads. Sounds pretty simple, but that's all it is to this business. So if you master the appointments, you mastered the signature portion, then all you need to focus on is the leads. And so whenever I'm working with brand new agents, I always try to get them to understand how important it is to get good at setting appointments, how important it is to be able to get signatures. So you have to have a written presentation. You can't go in there just speaking and hoping that they get it, because you'll hear yourself talk 100 times and your clients won't understand the thing you just said. They'll be shaking their head up and down going, and then when you're like, all right, did that make sense to you? They're like, yeah. And they don't know what you just said. But just like you guys see me always put up numbers here, I can promise you from the instructor's fundamental course that I took and that I teach, visuals always are better. We learn 75% through sight if you can see. And so anyone who thinks, well, no, I'm more of an audio learner, you're not. You're always going to be more visual. Now, you may have more audio need to hearing stuff than other people. If you're more audio, that might be what you're thinking, but it's 75% what you see, 13% of what you hear. So if you know that that's the case, what do you think you need to do for your clients? They got to see stuff. And if you don't have a presentation, you're already missing the mark. So you got to have something hard copy. What I like to do is reinforce it. If we know it's 7 to 12 touches that it requires to get clients to consider you top of mind, then you probably have to repeat a lot of this stuff 7 to 10 times, 11 to 12 times. So get in the habit of thinking like an instructor. I have to keep teaching my clients. Even if it's the same lesson over and over, just keep teaching over and over. And so even though this may seem monotonous every week, I'm sure you guys know if you work a W-2 job, you've been in that same position for 30 years, guess what? You're doing the same work day in and day out for 30 years. And the only difference would be that you're getting a promotion to supervisor, manager, or division, regional, whatever that is. You're going to keep going up the chain. But that's the goal to all of this. So if you've been wondering or trying to figure out, like, what is the goal of all of this, it's to basically become your own CEO. So, all right. Does that make sense to everybody? Was that worth anything to anyone? Did that help point out some of the mistakes that you may be making or the philosophies that you've had? All right. From here, we'll jump right into each of the individuals who's actually got results for the week. Looks like, all right, I think Evangeline said she wasn't going to make it today. Andrea has a lead from, looks like buyer side. All right, so I'll bring up Andrea, just kind of briefly go over it. All right, so good morning, Andrea. Don't think we can hear, see. So, still trying to track down a few people. Oh, hey there.
I had that little switch off. Yeah, so I got it from one of my signs. So they're actually looking for land. So that's where we're at.
Okay, gotcha. And sign meaning one of your listings, or?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So listing signs. All right. Good deal. All right. Well, I'll go into a little bit of explanation on that, but yes, that's definitely one of the ways that typically we used to pick up a lot of leads back before there was all the internet stuff. Matter of fact, broker just thrived on putting signs out and letting phone calls come in, and they would have what they call phone duty. So people would sit on phone duty in the office, and they was, anytime a sign rang, they would always say, if you want to sign up for phone duty, especially the newer agents, they had to come into the office and sit there and answer those phones. They give them like 2 hour shifts, and every 2 hours the phone ring, or they have multiple people in there for each of these shifts, and the phone ring, and they pick up leads that way. So then when we signed over the rights to Zillow and all the other third parties, they started allowing them to go to the IDX and upload those things online, and now they sell us our leads back to us. But it used to be a monopoly by the brokers. That's why being a broker was such a big deal back in the day. And some brokers still try to run their company that way. So, yeah, absolutely. If you have listings, that's why they always talked about, if you want a list to last, he who controls the inventory controls the market. That's what they meant. Like the brokers who had all the inventory controlled the entire market, meaning the agents, the clients, the buyers, the sellers, they controlled everything. But the reason why I laugh sometimes when I hear those old sayings is because they forgot that after the IDX agreement was signed in 2002 or 2004, and NAR said, yes, we're going to give all these third parties access to all of our listings. That's really not true anymore. You can control the listings without being a broker. And Esmeralda sent me a message earlier. She may not make it, but it's all good news. And when I tell you why, you'll be shocked, because she's controlling the market and she doesn't have to be a broker to do it. And all of you who are using the systems that are in place, and I see a lot of people did the assignment this week, but if you're using all the systems that are in place, you are going to be controlling the market. And so if you get a listing and you have signs, you just control that lead. Just like Andrea just mentioned, she picked up one, but imagine if you had 10 listings. If you were a broker, you had 20, 30, 40 listings at a time. You have multiple people calling on those signs. So, but good deal. Yep, that's what we want to hear. All right, so let's see. Next up. All right, thanks, Andrea. All right, next up, we got, it's like Lakeisha had a pretty good week. All right, so let me bring up Lakeisha. All right, good morning, Lakeisha.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
All right, so it looks like you had a pretty good week. It looks like you had all your leads were from Facebook Marketplace?
Yes, except for one. One is a past client.
And that was on the listing side.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and so have you bumped up your Facebook Marketplace ads? How many are you running at one time?
I have at least 6 running.
Okay, and does one tend to get way more than the others, or are they about the same?
Yes, one gets more than the other. Some of them are maybe about 5 or 6 times greater than the other.
All right, so I'm gonna talk about a strategy based off of that today. I'm also gonna post it. But when I did this with a commercial Facebook Marketplace, we ran 9 ads. Out of the 9 ads, 3 of them picked up quite a few leads. One out of 51 leads, one picked up 26. So out of that 26, we turned that one into an actual paid ad on Facebook, and it ended up picking up 243 leads in 6 months. All of them were about $4.90 a lead. Of course, once you pay the leads they're a little bit more serious, and you can connect it to a CRM, so you actually have a way easier follow-up process. But the point I'm making is if you use Facebook Marketplace to do your split testing, you can weed out the ads that are good and the ones that are bad. And as a marketer, I think we have to realize when you're a CEO, marketing comes before sales. If you're not marketing, you're not generating any business, so you can't sell anything. So you're a marketer first. And once you realize what marketing actually means, this becomes easy. So if you guys think about it, like as a team leader, I claim all of this. I can take everybody. If someone says, well, how is Dayton Schrader doing 500 deals? Well, if I go through and I look at all the closings everyone's had, and I said, well, if I take credit for, which you'll hear from every coach out there and team leader, they take credit for all the deals that happen under their watch. And then if I'm a coach, whoever improved their numbers from my coaching, I can take credit for those too. So think if you're in that position, like you have multiple people that you're working with, or you're coaching, or that are on your team. So you get credit for all of that, especially if you're doing something to help them get those numbers. So part of the concept is to know that you're a marketer first. And if you're a marketer, you split test. And split testing doesn't always have to cost money. And one of the shortcuts I learned was through Facebook Marketplace. So once you have that one lead, or correction, that one ad that's doing really, really well for you, you put it into a paid ad. It typically will do just as well. It may cost you some money, but you're going to end up seeing that. We don't know why people pick that one ad. You may think as a human being, if I think that ad would do great, then it's going to do great. But then you run the ad and no one responds. And then you run another one and go, well, that's interesting. They actually like that one, and I didn't think they would. Now, after you've done this enough, you're going to go, oh, I'm starting to see commonalities in what they like and what they don't like. And that's how you become a pretty decent marketer. Even then, you still try to run stuff that you may not think would work anyway. But with all that being said, the goal is to think like a marketer first. Always think, I got to get as much out there as possible and then see what works before you start, thinning things down. Then the second piece is start stacking your marketing pieces on top of each other. And we're going to see what that looks like here in a second. But great job, Lakeisha. So it looks like you had an appointment too. How did those go?
Those went actually well. So we're still looking. And I actually set more than two. I set 5 appointments. I got 5 appointments for this week. And 2 of them I've already been on.
Oh, cool.
So actually I was told 7, I'm sorry. And okay. 2 I've already been on.
And all of these are from Facebook Marketplace?
Yes.
All right. So not to put you on the spot too much, but before you were doing Facebook Marketplace, where were you getting your leads from?
Before, past clients and Zillow.
Okay. And
in Op City.
And this year, since January of this year, have you done anything other than Marketplace?
No. It's all been Marketplace.
And you have how many people under contract right now?
I have 2 under contract right now.
2 under contract and working with 7 more.
Yes.
Okay. So you can see, guys, if you're doing just one of these strategies, yes, that's how you go. You want to go deep, a mile deep and not a mile wide, inch wide, a mile deep. But Keisha's taking this to the next level. I've seen some of her ads and she's going deeper and deeper and deeper. And the point I'm making here is a lot of times people try something and they don't understand the benefit because they try it one time and it doesn't get the results they're trying to get. That's not a strategy. You're just hoping for luck. That's like going to Vegas and rolling the dice and hoping something happens. Even when I go to Vegas, the only game I play is blackjack because there is an actual strategy to play and it'll help your odds. Not going to guarantee anything, but there's no difference here. If you don't have a strategy, you're just hoping for luck. And Lakeisha's put together an entire strategy. She's followed a lot of the assignments from in the past. And now when I look at her ads, like I always tell people, I give you the stool, turn it into a chair. Well, Lakeisha's absolutely done that. Like I see her ads, they blow everything I put together away because she's taken the time to outdo me. So when I'm coaching people, I try to explain, like some people started asking me like, well, what exactly do you do? Can we see what you do? And then I'll show them someone else's stuff. They'll go ask that other person, so what do you do? And they'll go, well, what he told me. I'm like, I couldn't possibly do everything I teach you guys by myself. It'd be impossible. I'm only one person. And if I tried to do every single thing that you guys are doing, I would have to actually run a marketing company and not be a team leader. So what I do is I share this stuff with you guys so you can take it to the next level. And then when you turn that stool into a chair, the way I like to explain it to people so it makes sense, it's like I'm BlackBerry. Yeah, I had a great run when I was, setting up everything, but I'm now obsolete. But for those of you who turned BlackBerry and came up with an Android phone and an iPhone, of course you're going to blow past me. But that's what I want you to do. I've already cashed in my stocks, put it in the bank. I'm sitting pretty. I'm happy. But if you're trying to recreate BlackBerry, you're going to go out of business. Why would you want to do that? So hopefully that's a good analogy for you guys. Like I don't want you to repeat what I do because I'm teaching you the foundational stuff so you can jump on board and make it happen. So hopefully that's a good analogy. If not, sorry, I'll try to come up with a better one. All right. But great job, Lakeisha. Anything you wanted to add? It looks like you got one seller lead. Did I get that right?
Yes.
All right. And that was from a past client?
Yes.
All right. So we all know how sphere of influence works. And if you haven't started putting those emails together, we're going to talk about that coming up really soon in the assignments. All right. Great job, Lakeisha. Appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Then we have Esmeralda's number. So I'll go over what she shared with me. I'll just open up her text message. All right. So it says, "Good morning. I am doing my best to find a spot to attend today. I have 3 listings going live today, and my seller's home now finishing my staging. Last week was unreal. Thank you, Jesus and Julia." So she's having a fantastic week, and she said she's never missed an assignment and will not miss an assignment. And all she's doing is exactly what I coach. She started with the sphere of influence marketing, and she started by creating just one 40-second recording and sending it out to people. The next week we talked about adding stuff to different social media functions and stuff like that, and she started sharing those. And then the next thing she did was Facebook ads, because Facebook ads, what we talked about a week or it was 2 weeks ago now. And she said she just started running ads and picked up 2 listings. She's like, so everything I'm sharing with her is, it's literally, this is the definition of micro stacking. Every assignment that she's had or that she's done, she's picked up leads from it. So I always try to tell people, a lot of times micro stacking is the only way you're going to do well in this business. Because if you keep thinking like, well, I got this one method that works, I'm telling you right now, a lot of this stuff is seasonal. And when you're in the middle of the best part of the season, you're going to see this and you're going to think, okay, it's working great. And then when the market changes, you're going to be like, oh, what you taught me doesn't work anymore. Then you're not implementing what I taught you. Because what I teach is micro stacking. I don't teach one system solves every problem. And we see this with our Facebook ads a lot, and especially with OpCity. OpCity is interesting. Until you get way up on their chart, they don't keep sending you a bunch of leads. And then what you'll see is when the off season comes around, all of a sudden in November, December, that's your opportunity to prove to them that you can handle the workload. So one of my newest agents was getting 1 or 2 leads in October, November. And when they closed a couple, they started picking up more the following year. One of my agents was number 7 out of 700 and something agents in San Antonio. And it was actually Shane. And he was picking up leads from OpCity every single day, or at least 2 or 3 a week. Why? Because he was meeting the algorithm that they wanted. And part of the conversation they said was basically, when that person calls, you need to be able to answer right away and try to set an appointment right away, and then go back and put those statistics in the OpCity database. So basically the same thing that I require people to do here. OpCity is way stricter. They say if you don't fill out the information, you don't put the information in our software as quickly as you get it or as quickly as possible, then you fall short on the algorithm, and we're not going to keep sending you leads. So if someone was holding you accountable to that level, how much harder would you work to make sure you close every deal and follow the process that you were taught? So hopefully that's what I'm getting everyone to see. You get the leads, do the assignments, don't get stuck on one thing, because when the market changes and you're wondering what happened, it's because that one thing that was working for you, it only works during certain times of the year. And you'll start noticing that as you go. Listings are typically very popular between what I say tax day and Labor Day, but it's already fallen off. This is obviously a very strange market, because almost everyone I'm talking to about sellers is saying they're starting to challenge agents more. And this is going to be the case. And I talked to JT about this and several other people, and they're like, you think that's, I was like, I was right about the NAR lawsuit a year ago. Everybody said, I haven't heard anything. I said, well, it's the calm before the storm. It's going to get ugly. Well, it's now ugly. So people are like, I guess you knew what you're talking about. Yeah, it's going to be the same thing. By this time next year, you're going to see everything slow down for the end of the year. Builders are going to build up their inventory. So you're going to have to start pushing builders for the rest of the year. And then you're going to have to start doing some serious marketing where you're able to start getting listing clients before next year. You need to be top of mind like crazy. If you talk about doing farming and all that, you need to think about planning something in November, December, and waiting on those to come to fruition 6 months later. You're not going to be able to go on a listing appointment and just automatically get them, with the exception, of course, of recording video. So if you're not recording a lot of video, start thinking about whatever you need to do to get over that hump, because that's what's going to put you over the hump. And again, I'm going to go through Esmeralda's number so you guys can see. This is what the system is designed to do. I love to see the leads, but look at the rest of this. 4 appointments, 4 signatures, 1 closing, and all of those signatures are absolutely going to turn into closings as you go across 2 appointments for listings and 2 agreements signed. Now, I'm sure everyone here would love to have a week like that. And all it requires, if I go back on every one of these sheets, this is the one thing I noticed about Esmeralda. There's a yes on were you able to complete the assignment from last week. There's a yes in every single column, every single week. So if you're wondering if the system works, it does. But obviously things come up, and I did start dividing stuff up with the assignment so we can get there, without stressing people out too much. But again, it's 52 weeks. It doesn't matter where you are in this, the system in the mastermind. You just have to basically make sure that you go back and catch up on some of those things that maybe you didn't get done those weeks before, and you'll start seeing similar results. But just remember, this is a 52-week cycle. It's not, hey, this works or this doesn't work. You want to micro stack, put things on top of one another, and you'll start seeing a big difference. All right. With that, I'll jump in. It looks like Cherry had a good week too. So let's see. All right, Cherry, I'll bring you up, and then you can explain how all that went. All right. Good morning, Cherry. Looks like you didn't unmute. Let me see if I can unmute you. No, you have to unmute.
Okay.
All right. There you go.
There we go. Okay. So what I said is I didn't get the assignment finished because I'm still back on some of the other assignments. It's just, to me, it's a lot, and I'm trying to figure my way through it.
Oh, that's okay. I'm not picking up people about the assignment. I'm just showing that it works. So
Right.
How did you?
What I'm saying is, it says a Facebook ad, and both of mine are from Sphere of Influence. It's not from I don't know where that came from.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So I had two. One was a neighbor that has been here in the neighborhood and on the fence about, and then all of a sudden now they're hot and heavy. Let's go. And then the other is another one of my, actually a family member, and they've decided to purchase, look at some condos here in New Braunfels for short-term rentals.
Okay, cool. So, and then it looks like you got a couple of signatures. So how were those the same people that you went on the appointment with?
Yes, I did. Yes.
All right. And so they're under contract, one to four family?
No. Neither one of them are under contract. I'm just talking about the buyer rep agreement.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So, all right. Well, fantastic week. Yeah, it looks like obviously everyone here would love to have, 2 leads, 2 appointments, and get people under buyer rep agreements every week. So if you're following it's not about trying to play catch up. I'm just showing basically, if you're following assignments, it's going to yield better results. But of course, if you're not trying to get 4, 5, 6 listings a week, that's not the goal. So right. Some people are trying to get 100 deals a year. Some people are only trying to get 3 or 4. So the concepts hopefully are helping everyone, and the more that we share how we got these transactions, I think the better it is for everybody. But great week. And again, of course, everyone try to catch up when you can, but as long as you're doing good with what you got working, that's what we want. So, all right, good deal, Sherry. Thanks
all right, thank you.
All right, and then looks like Ashley, I think you came in at some point. I see you. All right, so it looks like Ashley has other. And so I'm always interested in see, because Ashley comes up with some pretty creative stuff. So what did you do to pick up 4 leads this week?
It's not that creative. I had an open house for my pre-foreclosure listing, and so we had a lot of people come in for that. So I picked up quite a few leads. I put 4, but it's more than that. I just know 4 that were pretty active. And then I didn't put it on here, I don't think, but I've been working foreclosure leads as well. So I'm kind of thinking I might get into that niche.
All right. And when you look at the foreclosure leads, are you picking up mostly buyers, or are you picking up any listings?
So the plan will be to get listings.
Okay.
Because they're in pre-foreclosure.
All right. And you've already started the process?
Yes.
And what does that look like for you so far?
So I have a lead gen site that I started with, but then I realized if you go on to Bear County, you can actually find all the pre-foreclosures and the dates that they're set to be foreclosed on. So like going forward, I probably won't pay for any leads because I could just cold call or door knock those pre-foreclosures that are listed within my zip code or the zip code that I want to focus on and work them that way.
Absolutely. And if you're looking for material to help out, obviously, if you have the listings to leads account, they have a whole guide on pre-foreclosures. There are several other places you can look at pre-foreclosure. If you go to Land Voice, RedX, Mojo, all these different places have a way to download pre-foreclosure leads. Again, like you said, you'd have to pay for them, and you could easily go to the county. The thing is, if you learn, even with a simple CRM, if you learn how to add all these leads to a CSV file, what you can do is upload them to a CRM and then actually let the CRM do the dialing for you. So if you have a dialer, it'll almost triple the amount of people you can talk to at one time because it'll keep dialing until it reaches someone that answers the phone and then it shuts off the others. Are you using the dialer system or no?
I haven't yet. I know that RedX has a dialer system, and they also provide all those, like all the information as far as the foreclosure goes.
Yep.
I haven't explored them too much because I'm just starting to get into it and learn more about foreclosures and short sales. But that's kind of what I'm leaning towards going forward.
Okay. And then you can check out Mojo. I think they're one of the more affordable ones, and they have a really good dialer system.
Yeah, I've used Mojo before.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, I mean, if you want even more information, there's a whole it's a company called Authorify that has a whole set of books and it's a bunch of stuff. But they teach a really good training, and usually I just go to the webinar, watch the training, then they ask you to purchase something for trial, and then you just get what you want and then turn it off. But I'll start putting stuff up. We're going to switch over to listings probably in week 14 or 15, but right now I think everybody's on the right pace, and it looks like if you're starting to switch over to listings, that's good because it's that time where we're going to have to start picking up listings by doing activities early on, like we talked about. And right now, I know pre-foreclosures, short sales, that type of stuff, it's kind of a specialty. But if you're interested in that, you guys let us know in the community, and we'll start sharing how to make those work.
Yeah, and then I have a closing tomorrow as well, and next week.
Okay, awesome. So I know Ashley's got all kinds of deals coming in. And how long you been in real estate total, Ashley?
It's been 1 year. 1 year in June, this past June.
And how many transactions have you closed?
This year I've done, I think, 14, and last year I did 6.
Okay. And so last year you were working with a company where you were getting what percentage on your transactions?
SOI was a 70-30 split, and then if you were getting leads, it depended on what kind of lead it was, but the total commission was anywhere from 30 to 45%.
Okay. And have you discovered ways that you can make a whole lot more money doing it yourself since you switched companies?
Oh yeah. One transaction now with LPT is like 2.5 transactions at my other company.
All right. And have we helped you discover multiple ways of generating business? And now you actually see that you can look for yourself too and not be stuck relying on lead gen companies?
Yeah, it's nice because, at that company, it was a crutch because you're running around with all these Zillow leads that may or may not buy. And now I'm forced to work SOI and find leads myself. But in the end, I'm actually working less than I did there.
And absolutely, that's the goal, because you set your goals. Again, you're the CEO of the company. So that system, that conversation that I had in the beginning probably makes a lot of sense to you, right? You're the CEO, and when you tackle a business from that standpoint, you create your own freedom, your time freedom, your financial freedom, and all that stuff. Sound about right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So that's pretty much everybody on here. Great job, Ashley, and I appreciate that. And I'll just kind of wrap it up with the next assignment. And then if you guys are going to make it out to Tanya's event today, let me know. All right. Now with that, let's see. we only got about 5 minutes. So I was going to go over some pretty lengthy training and see if I can get it done in 5 minutes, maybe 10 at the most. But what I've been hearing is a lot of people are obviously concerned about the market and how listings are going. Tanya's saying it's 12 to 2, 52 Thunder Ridge. So if you guys see that in the comments, make sure you make it out there. I don't know if Tanya's available to come up. We'll see. All right, but I was going to go over some of these the listing strategy that I use, because I'm thinking that there's a lot of different things that people are missing that you don't want to miss when you do your presentation. Because if you're not covering this stuff, you're going to miss out on deals. And I think a lot of people, they may not realize this, but that's part of the issue. If you don't know that these options exist, you're brand new in the industry, try to make it clear to everybody that if you haven't done at least 3 deals in a certain area, you might want to get, well, it's mandatory that you get help. Now, it used to be just 1 deal. Now, of course, you've been in the industry more than 2 years. That probably doesn't apply to you. But for everyone who's an apprentice, the first year you're a salesperson apprentice, that's why you have to take the extra hours, the 90 hours of education versus the 18 that the rest of us do for CE. But if you haven't done these type of transactions, you should have someone help you. Actually, it's mandatory that someone helps you for the first 3. And that's a rule that just changed, maybe in reaction to the lawsuit, may not, I don't know. In my opinion, it probably should have always been the case. And one of the reasons is because when I talked to one of the agents about listings, they missed something crucial. And it's something that I share with everybody. So I'll kind of walk through this really quickly because I won't have time to go through all of it. But I just want you guys to see, like, number one, there's a pre-listing package. I won't get too much into that. Understanding the market, maybe I'll do a little bit on this. And then being able to justify your comps. So the way I run comps is almost every brokerage I've been to, as soon as they see this training, they ask me to train their entire team. JPAR asked me to train as many agents as possible when I was running this program over there. And they had me do a coaching for 3,000 agents across the country. They were like, no one does listings this way. And it really starts with the net sheets. So I'm going to post this training in the assignment so you guys can see it. I already have it recorded, but I'll post it so you can see exactly what it is. But the point I want to make is that I call it a 4-option strategy. And if you miss this strategy, you're not going to be able to get all the listings, and you're going to miss out on money for absolutely no reason. So if you haven't signed up for OfferPad, I think I have a link for people that are on my team for sure. If not, I'm going to put a link in the assignment box for this week or when we start doing our listings, or I just send it out via email. But you need to sign up for OfferPad because that's strategy number 1 for listings. And a lot of people are like, well, why does it have to be first? Because if you put the home on the market, you can't go through OfferPad. You have to wait 6 months, I believe, or something like that. So the first option is, think about it. If you're doing a listing presentation, you get in front of people and say, all right, here are the net sheets. And before we start looking at my net sheets, I have 3 different options on my net sheets. But before we do that, I have investors that would be willing to pay you within 10 days. And then they go, well, you know, they're going to lowball me. It's like, see, as an agent, you can't let them control the conversation. If you're the agent and they start telling you what's going to happen and what's not going to happen, then you're allowing them to take over, and you're going to lose the listing. So it's, no, I have investors that want to invest, and I know what you're thinking. You know, with my fees and my commissions, you're not going to take home the same amount. That's exactly the opposite when you work with investors. Typically, whatever the investor offers is usually what they're going to net, with a few minor fees, because they tack on your 3%. When an investor is working with you, when the iBuyers that we talk about, OfferPad, they basically tack on your 3% so that you get paid 3% of whatever the deal is. And they pay it. They don't expect the seller to pay it. So if you're on a listing appointment and you don't bring that up, they're going to be like, well, no, I don't want to sell it for, let's say they were trying to net $190,000 on a $240,000 home. But you see the home and you're like, it's not really worth $240,000. One sold for that amount, but they had a bunch of upgrades in the house, almost completely rehabbed. The countertops are granite. Yours is still from mica. They had the carpet stripped out of the floor. And they put in wood, hardy plank wood, and you still got the carpet. So yours isn't going to probably sell for $240,000 unless you're willing to do all these upgrades. So what do you think I should do? Well, it depends. Do you want to sell fast or do you have time? I need to get out of here ASAP. All right. Well, look, what I can do is I have a group of investors that I work with, and that group of investors will make an offer, and what you see is what you walk away with. So if you're not asking the question from the very beginning, and I start off before I even go on an appointment, I have this conversation on the phone. What do you want to walk away with? How much do you want to put in your pocket? If they won't answer that question, you probably shouldn't even go on the appointment. It's like, why are you fighting me on telling me how? Well, I want to put away. I just want to list my house for $240. Okay, how much do you want to walk away with? Well, I've already done the calculations, and I just want to put my house on the market for $240. Okay, so you're not going to walk away with $240. I know, but that's what I think I need to sell it for. It's like, so you've done all the math, you've done all the calculations for title, you've done all. Well, I just, the little app that I use already told me that I need to put it on the market for $240. Okay, so what's the absolute lowest you would like to take and put in your pocket when this is all said and done? I just want to put it on the market for $240. All right, it's been nice talking to you. Have a good day. I'm pretty much done. I'm not. Why waste the time? They're obviously, they know more than you. They are thinking like a FISBO. What's the point of having a conversation with you if they're not willing to listen to anything you have to say? But that's typically not how it goes. So if you walk in and you're like, all right, what is it that you want to walk away with? The absolute minimum that you're willing to walk away with. If I could net $180,000, I'm good to go. Okay, great. We just talked to them. I have an iBuyer or a bunch of investors, group of investors that can make an offer in within 10 days. Is that important to you that you put cash in your pocket in 10 days, or do you want to put on the market? And right now, if I show you the CMA, it's taking some homes in this area taking as many 60 to 150 days. It's taking that long to sell a house? And what are these folks offering? Because what you got to think, if it's 150 days, you're looking at 5 months. What's your mortgage payment? $1,500 times 5, that's $7,500. So what are you willing to walk away with if we got it sold in 10 days? So if you're not doing math for both the listing and the buyer side, you're going to lose a lot of deals. And I know realtors say, I hate numbers. I would have been a mortgage person. Well, we count money pretty fast as realtors. So you might as well start getting used to, bring up these numbers for them, because as soon as the net sheets, that's all they talk about is the money. So what you'll notice on the iBuyer side, they come in and say, we'll offer that client $175,000. They're like, there's no way. Why would I do $175,000? I'd rather just put it on the market for $240. Well, I've already shown you what sold for $240. You can put it on the market for that, but comparing that to the other house, do you really think you're going to get the same as the one that had everything upgraded and your home, you didn't do anything to this house? Well, I just want to put it on the market for $240. Okay, but in a couple of weeks, are you willing to back off a couple if we don't get any showings and we get no offers? I mean, we can think about that. Okay, great. I don't mind putting on the market for $240. I just want to make sure that we're being reasonable, because if your house doesn't sell, I don't want you looking at me and saying I didn't explain all this to you. Well, that's fair. Yeah, I guess you got a point there. All right, so we'll try $240, but my recommendation is, here's the other net sheets. My first net sheet says $210. The second one says $220, and the other one says $230. So to me, the max we should go is $230. If you want to do $240, we can do that. But my thought process is at $210, you're probably going to get people making offers on the home. But if I do $210, I'm not going to be able to walk away with much money. Well, how much do you think you're going to get with $240? No one's going to show up. And after 150 days, you just paid $7,500 more. So you just threw away $7,500 hoping that someone will come along. We never know, though. I mean, they may know something about your house, like there's an oil well back there or gold back there in the backyard. We don't know. So we can't tell you what to sell your house for. But we can absolutely give you some recommendations. And then they're like, all right. So my goal is to make sure I present all the options to you so that you can choose whatever you want. Do you mind if I run through those options? And then they start kind of going, okay, I'm listening now. All right, great. But I'm just showing you how some of these objections come in. But if you have a presentation that you can send them ahead of time, a video that they've watched explaining the stuff that I'm talking about, a lot of times that's why I say video solves a lot of your problems. Because if they've been binge watching your material and they know that you already shared this information with them, they can't argue with the video. So that's how it solves a lot of your problems. If you don't have a presentation to put in front of them, they're going to argue with you because they're going to think they know more. If you send a video, they're not going to argue. If they watched it, you can always, say, go back and watch my video. But in the end, here's how the 4 options work. All right. This net sheet, even though it's $210, It's usually about 10% of that they're going to have to give up. So you can automatically just subtract 10%. At 10%, you're looking at $2,100 or $21,000. So you end up netting about 190. Oh, okay. Oh, well, that's before repairs though. Sorry. And if they come back and say, how about we offer you 200? Well, now it's 200. You'll get back 180. They look at repairs. They go, yep, you need to reduce the price of the home by, another $6,000, $8,000, or you can fix it for us, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. They're like, well, now I'm only going to get $180,000 back, potentially. So, and that's going to take 30 to 45 days. Plus, they're still in the middle of negotiations, and they may not accept it. They may walk away. So you're telling me if I use the iBuyer or this investor, they'll give me $175,000 in about 10 days? Yep, that's exactly right. And I'm only going to net 180 if I go this other route? Well, it could be less than that. We don't know, because once they send the inspectors in for the repairs, they may offer less money. Oh, so if we do 220, same situation. We don't know how much the repairs are going to be. What if they find $20,000 worth of stuff to repair and they ask you to reduce the price of the home by 20? Or even if they ask for half of that and they start with an offer of 210, you're still going to be right around that 175, 180 mark. Oh, goodness. Well, what can I do to get the house sold for more money? We can stage it. It's going to cost you money. We can have some stuff painted, declutter, set up curb appeal, do drone coverage, get better pictures. There's a ton of things we can do to make the house look better. Do you want to upgrade the countertops? Do you want to get rid of the carpet? Do you want to set up cabinets with nice little gold knobs and stuff on it? Have it painted, make it look brighter, get some blinds or something that are up to date? You tell me. We can do a lot of different things, but it's going to cost you probably around $7,500 to do all that, right? Or $2,000. So maybe you spend $2,000 to save $7,500. Yeah, I'd rather just get it sold. Well, there you go. So now I know when I ask people from the very beginning, do you want to sell it? Do you have time to sell it, or do you want to sell it right away? I want to sell it right away. Well, your first option has to always be the iBuyer or the OfferPad or one of those other ones. Why? Because here's the thing. If you bring that up first, just like every single other person out there, when you watch these sales commercials and sales, anything dealing with sales, we want them to see the lowest number first. They see 170, 175 they're like, whoa, that's what they would offer me? Yeah, you get that in about 10 days. That's what an investor would pay for your property. I just can't go that low. But now it's in their head. They won't give you their bottom line. That's one of the main reasons I like to use the iBuyer first, because they're like, I don't know what I want to net. Okay, well, this is what they're going to offer you, and you'll probably put about 175 in your pocket. I will, but I don't think that's enough. Okay, well, now that number's in their head. Now when you go through the presentation, guess what they're going to be thinking about the whole time if you're explaining it properly? Hey, CMA says it could be 150 days before this thing sells. Could be this, it could be that, it could be a million things. I'm just putting the options out there for you. And so if you have what I call a multi-option strategy, which I have 4 different options, like I said, the iBuyer, my low, medium, and high price, and then actually it's 5, whatever the heck they say. I don't care. It's on. If they want to say $500,000, sure, we'll put it on the market. But I'm showing you what I think is going to happen over time. And I always agree with the client when they say, well, I think I can get more. Yeah, it could. We don't know. We don't know what the market will offer for your home, because the market's going to tell us what it's really worth. I could be wrong, but I just want to present to you what the data is telling me, not me personally telling you what your house is going to sell for, because I don't know. But the data in your neighborhood says this. And so if you've done the right job, which is where I get into running comps that you can justify, that's where that comes from. So again, I'll post all this stuff in the Gumroad's roadmap, but you'll see this. It's pretty lengthy training. It's probably like 5 or 6 different videos. But as you go through it, you'll be one of the best listing agents in the city, if not across the state, not across the country. I've done this when I was in California, Las Vegas. Everybody loves the training, but it's because the only way you lose the listing is if the person's, arguing with themselves and they lose. Because it's like, how do you say no when you get to make the final call? You want to list it for 240? Sounds good to me, but here's all the information. And as you're walking through this stuff, they're going, all right, that logically makes sense. So I can put it on the market for 240, absolutely. And after 2 weeks, if we don't get any showings, no offers, I should drop it 10,000. That's reasonable. Okay, that's what I want to do. Then that's what you run with. So you should never lose listings, because if they're arguing with themselves, that means they weren't serious about listing in the first place. They were just testing you. So once you get really good at this over and over and over again, you'll start recognizing that it's easy to pick off the people who are serious. You go on those appointments. It'll very rarely will you miss it. When I was going on appointments, all my agents that were brand new, we landed 25 out of 26. And I think I did the presentation for pretty much everyone the first time around. And they were like, once you do listings, it's the same concept over and over and over again. But again, I'll put that information out there, and then we'll eventually, like week 15 and 16, we'll start switching over to doing listing strategies on how to pick up business that way. So, all right. Was that beneficial for everybody? How many people like the idea of switching over and getting started with listings here shortly? The guides on listing leads, kind of, there's a reason we use listings to leads, because yes, you can post and pick up leads. As Merelda said, she ran a couple of ads and picked up 2 listing leads from that. The guides are, well, the roadmap is the roadmap. Now this is the roadmap, if that was your question. So this is a roadmap. So if that's what you meant, this is where you go, and it'll tell you what assignments to follow. Yeah, listening to leads has everything in it. It's definitely not a roadmap, because everybody I've ever given it to without showing them what to do on there, it's kind of confusing. Trying to figure out what's going to help you the most. You can do it. It would just take forever, but that's kind of why I put this together, so you don't have to try to figure it all out. But I'm thinking that was your question. If I'm wrong, let me know. Or you asked if this was the roadmap. So. All right, good deal. It looks like everybody's got pretty good info out of that. It looks like Tanya's with us. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
On point. Can you hear me?
You're coming in broken. I'm not sure if it's the internet connection.
Yes. So how about
Yeah. We're picking up like every other word.
well, I guess I won't say too much except for just come to my broker open today. Then you can see the pool in person. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Okay, I heard you have the broker open today from 12 to 2, and you're by the pool. That's all right. Perfect. All right. So we'll wrap it up with that today, unless you guys have anything else you want to submit. But yeah, it looks like everybody's wanting to start to do listings. So what I'll do is I'll add the training. We won't get to it until week 15, but if you want to get there on a faster pace, I'm going to post it in week 15. I don't think I have a whole lot in there yet. Yeah, the first thing is, well, this says Utopia. I'm going to put the learn the strategy, the multi-option. Utopia is the wrong one. It's going to be OfferPad. So I just have this in as a placeholder, but basically it's going to be sign up for OfferPad and then learn the strategy. So all the stuff you saw here, it'll be in week 15, but I'll just go ahead and add it early. That way, if you guys want to start with listings instead of waiting, you can do that. But make sure we knock out the other assignments as well. Nothing wrong with going ahead, but make sure we knock out the assignments each week. And with that being said, I think we're on week 8. Nope, we did this one last week, I think. If not, then make sure you do this one. But these are the scripts that I put together for this particular ad. And I think, yeah, connecting the CRM is next. That's kind of how to set up a CRM and make sure you add your book of business. This is a book of business assignment. I think this is one of the most important ones. So if you haven't, go through this, make sure you understand it. If nothing else, make sure you download a CSV file of all of your book of business. Take all your leads, all your contacts from everywhere, and download this spreadsheet. I'll show it to you so you see what it looks like, and then we'll call it a day. All right. Well, that's not it. All right. So as you can see here at the bottom, it says all leads, your SOI, your vendors, past clients, old leads, farm leads. So what I do is I'll start with each one of these. Get your sphere of influence, name, phone number, email, tag them. You can tag them with SOI. You can tag them with vendor, tag them with past client, something that'll help you remember who they are. And then once you finish filling out each one of these tabs with the correct contacts, then copy and paste each one and add them to the all leads. Then once you've done that, you can take that entire list and upload it to your CRM. And all the tags should be in place. If you're using Lofty, KV Core, or whatever those are, you want to take this one page and send it. And as long as the tags are in place, you can set up different campaigns for each one, or you can target all of them. With the CRM that I'm using, I'm just going to basically have all these names added to one CRM that I use, and then the 13 email loop is what I use to keep top of mind. So we'll go over this again next week, but for the most part, just follow the assignment. And if you have a CRM, make sure you get familiar with it and learn how to use some of this information. I'll record a video and post it in here so you see what my CRM looks like. But the main thing is step number 2 here. Add all of your contacts to that list, and then look for the videos, and I'll show you what to do with them. All right. Any questions on that assignment? All right. Well, good deal. It's about 15 minutes longer than normal, but hopefully you guys got a lot out of the training, and you picked up a lot of good tips from other people who did a lot of work this week. So fantastic. It looks like everybody's wrapping up the summer and doing great, and that's what we want to see every week. So you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next time.